Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our webinar series. I am glad to see you all joined back for the second session of the webinar series. I am Dr. B. Etikumar Swami Gowda, Principal, Advas College of Nursing, Moodigvidre, Organizing Committee of the webinar series. Actually, we have planned three important sessions. That is the last week, Professor Lakshmi Devi, pediatric nursing. Yeah. Actually, we have planned for three important topics. That is the last week. That is Professor Lakshmi Devi has dealt thriving challenges, living and leading with COVID-19 in pediatric patients. And the second topic, that is today, Dr. Aldrin will be dealing minding our minds. And the next week we will be having post-COVID care that will be dealt by Mrs. Renuka, Associate Professor, Medical Surgical Nursing Department. In this connection, I thank Dr. M. Mohan Alva, the Chairman, Alvas Education Foundation, Chief Patron of this webinar, for motivating and guiding to conduct this. I also thank Dr. Anna Shetty Madam for selecting the content and even the topics of this webinar series. Today, the COVID-19 pandemic has brought the multiple challenges in addition to the infection itself, and mental health issues have been in forefront. Today, the second session of the webinar series on various aspects of COVID-19 management. We are focusing on the impact of COVID-19 on mental health and ways to handle it. That is, minding our minds during COVID-19. In this, once again, I welcome you, all of you, and then I hand over the mic to Dr. Aldrin for conducting the session.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you joined to the second session of the webinar series. Without much delay, we will get into the topic. So today I'll be dealing with the minding our minds during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our outline of the presentation goes like this: understanding the effects of the COVID-19 on the mental health, lockdown and its responses, how people responded to the lockdown and social distancing or new rules, who is at more risk to the concern to the mental health, and emotional disturbances due to the stressful life. So we'll be going through this kind of topics like handling the social isolation on facts, rumors, and myths related to the COVID-19, handling emotional problems, stigma related to the COVID-19, and things what we can do to maintain our mental health. So these are all the this is the outline what we follow in the today's presentation. COVID-19 and mental health. Currently, all of us are experiencing emotions, thoughts, and situations we have never experienced before. Might be we might have gone through a lot of stress related to the other experience, other things like on an individual basis, but on a large scale or on the population scale, we are experiencing such a stress in today's generation. This is kind of first I feel, and it has been shaken the entire world and created the global panic. So overall, it has created a panic concern to the either it might be a job or it might be a family life. So a lot of issues have been affected with the this pandemic. The pandemic has significant and variable psychological impacts in each country depending on the stage of the pandemic. So, stage that's being mentioned or referred to the first wave or second wave or third wave. So, different countries are experiencing different level of waves. So, related to it, there are different challenges. The new realities of working from home or temporary unemployment, or maybe see what we thought is when working from home, that kind of a people took it, some people might have enjoyed it, maybe they took it positively, but as the time passes, the working hours extended beyond like 9 to 5, so maybe an additional hour or two, so they need to spend on the work, so it becomes stressful for some people. And temporary unemployment, related to maybe people are fired from their job or paid got some half salaries or temporarily they have lost their salaries. So there are job related issues also, and homeschooling of the children. So that has got taken to a new turn where mobile were prevented from the, or mobiles were not given to the children, but now the whole schooling happens through the mobile. So that's the new challenges. And even the challenges like how LKG children, even for the LKG, UKG children, the online or live classes have been taken. So it's difficult to for the parents to make them sit and listen to the classes. So it kind of both the challenges are there, and lack of the physical contact with the other family members, friends, and colleagues take time to get used to. So these are all the new changes. It's kind of new normal. So people how they perceive depends upon that. Their level of mental health will be. So some people take it positively, new challenge, maybe working from home, or maybe people fired from the job, they are trying for the new jobs, or they got better. So it can be positive or either negative also. All totally it depends on how we perceive it. And adapting to the lifestyle changes and managing the fear of contracting virus, that has become the issue of today. So everyone has that fear of contracting the virus or might be passing on to their loved ones. So maybe there are back home there are people who are loved ones like parents or kids, right? So people those who are there with us, we feel that we might transfer or transmit the infection to them. So that fear is there. The psychological effects of the pandemic are best understood in terms of psychiatric and psychological problems that were can be divided into like responses to social isolation and a lockdown. So any rules and regulation brings the new challenges. When we need to follow rules and regulation, there is some pressure, right? So the psychological response to the diagnosis, how people respond to the diagnosis, maybe it has taken as a stigmatic, or maybe there is a feeling of guilt, right? So those kind of things are there with the diagnosis. And when the people are diagnosed with the COVID-19, there is an uncertainty about the treatment, the maybe related to the bills, right? So a lot of aspects come into the mind when people get diagnosed with the COVID-19. Public session. So understanding the importance of the lockdown, that's one of the issue where people has been imposed restrictions on their movement. That has brought some kind of negative feeling for the people. So what's the importance? Let us know why lockdown has been imposed and what's the importance of it. Lockdown is meant to prevent the spread of infection from one person to another, to protect ourselves and others. This means not stepping out of the house except buying necessities, reducing the number of trips outside, and ideally, only a single healthy family member making trips when absolutely necessary. See, lockdown is basically for the breaking the chain or the chain of infection. So, if we follow it, it's good for the larger population. Our responses to social distancing and the lockdown. The social distancing and the lockdown have led to the several changes in day-to-day activities. That's right from the redistribution of the home chores or extensive working hours. As I told before, some people might have welcomed the approach of working from home. So basically, what happened as the time passes, so the extended hours of working has made them strained of their working hours and made it difficult them to work. And yeah, along with that, the infrastructure they used to work, it's not available at home. For example, basic necessities like a desktop or maybe like a chair, proper comfortable chair. So basically, when you work in such situation, your body gets strained. At the same time, you are strained while watching the screen all the day. Notwithstanding the importance of the social distancing, maybe some people, such as requirement, has meant long separation from the families, financial stress, and interpersonal strain. Basically, people who has got there with the maybe like working in the metropolitan cities or working away from home or abroad, they are stuck up there when this lockdown has imposed. So the lockdown was there for a longer period of time, and they could not work also. At the same time, they cannot go back to their hometown also. So that has been created a kind of emotional strain. The reactions can range from boredom to the moodiness to anger, irritation, and frustration. All those has pent up the uh, reactions, and which turn to the anger and irritation and finally frustration. Mental health impact of COVID-19 on general population. A study conducted by the Zanfer and Barfam in 2020 highlighted the role of unpredictability, uncertainty of future, the seriousness of the disease, misinformation, and the social isolation is contributing to the stress and mental morbidity. So basically, we are focusing on the mental health issues related to the COVID-19, and the research also proven that few factors are contributing towards the mental morbidity, or the right from the unpredictability, uncertainty, maybe related to the our jobs, maybe related to the schooling of children. So lot of uncertainty has come in. Maybe some businesses has shut down. So what to do next? So lot of issues has been there. So that has caused the stress. And even with the seriousness of disease, people some with the comorbidities has got serious, and they have got admissions to the hospital and get into the ICUs. So a lot of impact has the disease itself has done. And in misinformation, today's era, the social medias has carrying lot of misinformation, and blindly we are forwarding it and causing, or we are contributing towards the increasing the anxiety among the people. So that has been the one of the issue. And social isolation, another issue may be related to the lockdown, may be related to the disease and the diagnosis of the disease itself. So a lot of issues related to the isolation also causing the stress. Actually, who is at more risk? Why, or what category of people, or what kind of people are at risk? If people are having the pre-existing conditions like a medical condition, or might be the mental health issues if they have previously, so that will be an issue for the, or that will be a risk. And intensity and severity of exposure to the infection, and a lack of support from the community. If people are feel that there is no support from the family, community, or society, so that itself causes, or that is also poses a risk. And childrens and teens, because children almost they live in groups, they play with the peer group, so that has been cut down now. The outdoor plays, the schooling has been stopped from long time. They have been there in the home, and nowadays only single child is there at home. So that kind of situation or the environment is stress, causing stress in them. Elders and the people with the disabilities. So elders already they are have got a weaker immune system, or related to the their age related issues. So along with that, people with disabilities also more prone to the disease. And health workers and other frontline workers, almost they're exposing to the infection on the daily basis. So that has, in that way, they are more at risk. Children and teens at risk. Uh, the children, because of the separation from their peer group, their school, all those things, and sitting in front of the computers, or playing video games, or the watching television. So all those things has caused a lot of stress, and the children may respond in a way. The symptoms you can see like excessive crying or annoying behavior, an increasing sadness, depressed or worry, a difficulty with the concentration and attention, and changes in or avoiding the activities that they enjoyed in the past. Maybe like they used to play carom board, they enjoy carom board or chess, and now they don't do that because they got bored of that. So such a symptoms you'll see: unexpected headaches and pain throughout their bodies, or changes in the eating habits. Since they don't have a proper routine, the maybe they get up late, or the breakfast is late, then the lunch gets late, and so because of that routine also the eating habits changes. And even watching TV, they consume lot of snacks. So related to those issues, they are at risk. and elders and people with the disabilities at risk due to both clinical and social reasons, such as like a weaker immune system in elderly because of their age, their deteriorating different organ systems, so they have got a weaker immune system, and also underlying health might be like chronic illnesses like diabetes or hypertension or other issues. Due to that, they are prone to that, and distancing from their loved ones. So first of all, most of the people and many of the people are suffering with the empty nest syndrome. So along with that, this social restrictions, maybe like isolation or maybe lockdown, has caused or making them to stay away from the family members. So they might exhibit the symptoms like they get irritated, or they show the shouting behavior and change in their sleeping and eating habits, emotional outbursts. So all these things might be seen in the elders. Health workers and other frontline workers are at risk. Maybe they have been having a fear of catching the disease, because since they're exposing on a daily basis to the infection, they have got a fear. And long working hours, maybe due to the uh, reduced workforce, because some people may not able to travel to their workstation. So the strength of the workforce has been reduced, the number of people has reduced. So because of that, these whoever can perform the work or carry out the work, they have to carry out for a longer period of time, and even with the patient load, that has increased, right? So because of this, there is a long working hours, then unavailability of protective gears and supplies. Nowadays, that's kind of not an issue, but initially unavailability of the protective gears was an issue, and now the issue has turned into whether it is economical or not, whether one the hospital or maybe institution can afford it or not, or in terms of if they afford also, people who are using that, whether they can withstand with that protective gears for a longer period of time, like 6 hours, 8 hours, without having food or drink, right? So a lot of issues are related to the uh, protective gears and supplies causing stress. Unavailability of the effective COVID-19 medication. So this also causes the stress, and death of their colleagues after exposure to the COVID-19. So when people around you, those are working with you, they have not there, uh, they are missing from today, so that causes a lot of stress. Maybe like maybe I may be the next, that kind of thought may come. So that also definitely has a lot of stress. Social distancing and isolation from their family members, because since they're exposing on a daily basis to the infection, so they need to maintain an isolation from their family. So once you are away from your support system, the emotional refueling will be cut down. It will, maybe they can contact online or something they can do, but on a daily basis or maybe in physical kind of contact might not be there. Maybe a kids, maybe a young mother who is having an infant, or might be a newborn. So those people will be feeling a lot of stress related to this. Emotional disturbances due to the stressful life. Why we are talking about stressful life? Because we know that this pandemic has been created a lot of stress. So what might be the effects of stress on our mental health? What we can see in terms of emotional disturbances are sadness of mood, anxiety or worry or fear of contracting the infection. Basically, that's the budding anxiety, or maybe like it's a stressor for us. Persistent preoccupation with the illness, worry. Always we'll be thinking, oh, whether I might get the disease, or might be whether I might transfer the disease to my loved ones. So all those thoughts, and maybe searching for the medications or vaccinations or searching on online. So always thinking about that, and we'll be engaged with that thought. That will be a worrisome. Inability to cope up, and some degree of a dysfunction. Usually, when we worry, when we are anxious, definitely our decision making ability goes down and will not be able to react appropriately. So, all those things go with this. And sleep and appetite disturbances are common physiological changes you see when you are under stress. Reduction in activity or feeling restless definitely will not be able to concentrate. There will be lowered attention because of this. As a consequence, you'll see the poor memory, you'll not able to remember all and everything, so, right? And a loss of self-esteem and self-confidence. So this will be hurt by the maybe like if you are diagnosed with the disease, or if you have transferred the, if you know that, or if you feel that you have transferred the disease to your family, right? So your self-esteem will go down, or might be if you're not able to take care of your family members, so such feeling will cause the loss of self-esteem and self-confidence. And ideas that one is worthless, maybe people feel that I don't get any help from my family or society. So such kind of feeling, and feeling of I'm not able to perform anything. So that feeling is worthlessness, has done something wrong. That kind of feeling, and feeling of helplessness, and there is no hope for the future. So these things will definitely kind of hurting for the normal mental health. Handling social isolation. So, what can be done to maintain a normal kind of absolute or optimum level of mental health? We can try something so that we can be busy with the things. Maybe like engaging in the daily activities. Maybe we'll be in isolation. As we are in isolation, we are not able to go anywhere. So you can busy with the activities, whatever you love. So that can be done right from the, or maybe few people have started the YouTube channels, and they have overnight they have become famous. Such kind of things are there, and even some people develop the habit of reading books or gardening. So new things have been developed, and something or some activities they are trying to, with some activities they are trying to keep them busy. Distract yourself from the negative emotions. Definitely, we need to be away from the negative emotions. Really, maybe like the watching news all 24 into 7. So that will be a kind of negative input you will take into yourself. So avoid watching a news channel all the time. So only important things or reliable sources you can get the news, updated news. Rediscover your hobbies. Hobbies, maybe we have grown up and we might have lost our hobbies. Some we had some hobbies, but we lost hobbies. So we need to. This is the time where we can rediscover our hobbies, or you can develop new hobbies. So whatever it gives pleasure to you, feels good. So such things you can do. Eat well, drink plenty of fluids. Definitely, nutrition, well, balanced nutrition will help us to fight against the infection, and as well as keep our mental health at the optimum level. And be physically active, definitely that will help. Maybe as simple as walking can help. Maybe according to WHO, 10,000 steps per day. Definitely it will be helpful. Or if you are doing some exercises, aerobics or other yoga, meditation, so or muscle relaxation techniques. So anything is good, but as simple as walking also can be done. Sharing is caring. Definitely sharing, when you share something you feel good, right? So our aim is to feel good, uh, have a normal mental health. So this can help us. Elderly people may feel confused, lost, and need help. Offer them help by getting the whatever they need. Maybe elderly people might not be able to go to the shops or buy things. Maybe like they have got the necessities like groceries or medicines. So whatever the need, we can help them, right? So it will help. It will boost up our morality also. At the same time, it will be helpful for them also. Children at home, involve them in the household chores and make them feel responsible and acquire new skills. Children, they are very enthusiastic. They can be involved in many of the activities, and they will be good, uh, and they will learn new skills. And when you involve them, when you engage them, definitely it will be helpful for you also and for them also. Focus on facts, reject rumors. So This is what we need to do at the moment. So knowledge is power. When you know about a concept, whatever it is, either related to the COVID-19 management, or maybe a balanced nutrition, or maybe leading a peaceful life, anything. If you know about the fact, you can make decisions very easily, and definitely it will boost up your confidence. And automatically, when you see something wrong on the uh, social medias, you will be able to judge whether it is a genuine information or it is misinformation. So do not follow the sensational news or social media posts which may impact your mental state. Do not spread or share the unverified news or information further. So many of us, we are doing this, but we need to stop this. If at all, if you want to share something, definitely you have to verify. Unverified messages might cause harm to somebody in the somewhere in the world, right? So this has to be stopped, and if at all share, you have to verify and share, and don't focus on the sensational news, because that might be like treating the isolated patients or handling the dead bodies or throwing away, not letting the family members to see the face of the expired one. So those things, when you watch on the social medias or television, definitely it inculcates some fear in us. So we need to get away from those things. Do not keep discussing all the time about who got sick and how he got sick. So all those things. So that are those things, negative things. We need to focus on who got well and recovered, how he recovered, and what are the things, good things he has done. So focusing on positive things will help us. Stick to the known advice, definitely, like hand hygiene or using a mask, keeping a physical distance from others. So whatever the known advisors are there, maybe like you can trust some agencies like WHO or some government websites. So where you will get the authentic information and you follow that. A common cold is not corona infection. It's not COVID infection always. So usually we used to get a common cold, but nowadays if we sneeze or maybe cough, definitely it will be looked into the different angle. So uh, do not judge anything on the basis of that. In most of the people, the corona infection causes mild symptoms, nothing new, right? If people have comorbidities, if the people have pre-existing conditions, in them only it get worsen. If they take medical facility or medical care on right time, they'll get recovered. So most of the people do not require hospitalization, and most of them will recover. The mortality rate is very, very low, very, very low. Mythbusters: can pets at home spread COVID infection? Uh, Actually, no. There is no evidence that pets such as dogs, cats can transmit the COVID 19. Should you avoid eating meat, poultry, fish, eggs to prevent the COVID-19? No. You can consume, but whenever you consume such things, you make sure that it has thoroughly cooked, right? So you can have it. Are hand sanitizers the only solution to the protect oneself from the COVID-19? No. The best thing is you can wash your hands with the soap and water. Unless there is the facility is not available, you can make use of those alcohol-based hand sanitizers. So you need to be clear about what are the things we do. Handling emotional problems, how you can handle these emotional situations or issues. It is normal to feel sad, stressed, confused, or scared or angry during the crisis. It definitely happens in normal person. It's a normal reaction to any crisis. So it is normal, nothing wrong in that. And whenever we feel such things, we do not communicate with the people with whom we can get help, right? So we feel that this is something abnormal, so we keep hiding that. So it is normal. Feeling sad or getting anxiety, it is normal. It is normal reaction to a crisis. Talking to the people you trust can help. Usually, we need to share. When we share, we get relaxed. So that is a. If you don't get solution, also the when you share something, you feel relaxed. That is more important. And when you share with the trusted people, when you share with the people with your support system, definitely you will get help. It will be better your condition. At times, anxiety, practice breathing slowly. You can do this. Actually, you can try this. Practice breathing slowly for a few minutes and try a distance thoughts. You try to avoid such a thoughts of making you anxious. Think something calm, serene, or slow down your mind. You cool off. You sit for a moment and think about uh, what makes you comfortable. When feeling angry, irritated, calming your mind, counting back from 10 to 1, that will be a good strategy like 10, 9, 8, like that. So that will be helpful. And keep a journal. Writing a diary will always help. At least, see, the things is many of the time we cannot share things with the people. So if you have a habit of writing a diary or a journal, it will help you to uh, express your thoughts. When you express, you feel comfortable. So at least you have a channel to uh, bring it out your thoughts. Handling emotional problems. Even when feeling afraid, deal with it by asking yourself what you can do, right? What is under my control? See, many of the things is not under control. We'll be so much preoccupied with those things. We will more focus on those things. If you think, if whatever the amount of time you spend on thinking on those aspects, you will not able to change, right? So you have to think what is under my control, what I can do. So such things, if you have a clarity on that, definitely you worry less. Am I unnecessarily worrying about the worst thing that can happen? See, that's what happened. If you are with the infect, common cold, also we will feel that that's a coronavirus or COVID, so we need treatment. I might get admitted to the ICU. So we by unnecessarily worrying about many things. Actually, it's not needed. When I have been stressed in the past, how have I managed? So in the similar situation in the past, how did I manage? Whether what strategies I have used, whether it is worked out or not. If it is worked out, similar things can be done. What are the things I can do to help myself to keep positive or be positive? So all those things we can ask ourselves and get rejuvenated. If any of these emotions persist continuously for several days, call helpline number like they have given the government helpline number. If you want, you can note it down. And if you have your consultant near to your home, you can consult or you can seek out to the mental health professional help. So those things you can do it. If it persists for a longer period of time, or you are aware that it is disturbing your daily routine or kind of work life, is nothing wrong in seeking help or getting help and getting it corrected or resolved. What is not advisable? Not advisable is the consumption of the tobacco or alcohol. Actually, it get worsen the condition. We sometimes the wrong information comes like if you take alcohol, you will be free from the COVID-19. So those things are not right. And when you consume such things, definitely it will weaken your immunity and you are prone for infections. And people already who has the habit or got addicted to these kind of substance definitely need professional help. Do not judge the people with a COVID-19 infection. Remember, they need care and concern. See, when people contracted with the disease or diagnosed with the disease, we should not judge the people from where he has got and whether he might transfer the disease to us or something like that. So, need to see that he needs care, he needs compassion, he needs support. So, that should be our approach. If you happen to get infected with corona, remember most of the people get better. Do not panic. Practice self isolation and take medications that advise. So always there should be a positive frame of mind. We will get better. We'll get better. So do not panic. Emotional issues after recovery. See, there were issues when the infection happens or before you get infected. See, this is what happens after recovery. See, after recovery, you are getting back to the community, getting back to the family, may face a stress. See, maybe there is a fear that you might get transmit the infection to your loved ones. They might fall sick. So such kind of thoughts causing stress for you. And second thing, how they welcome, what is the attitude of your family members or community people. So that also causes stress. People who do not understand the illness well may actually keep you at a distance. They might not take it in you. They might not mingle with you. So such things are uh, kind of stressful things. You may experience feeling of guilt that you were not able to work for your family members. See, you might be the working members or earning member of the family. When you contract a disease or diagnosed with disease, your earnings has lost, livelihood is. So that guilt might affect you. Learn how to deal with these things. Share your positive story. It is possible to recover from the COVID-19 infection. See, whenever we get recovered from the infection, we need to spread the news that I have infected with that particular infection, I have recovered from it. So it gives a lot of courage for the other people. It will be motivating for others. Recognize mental health problems. So, see, as like if we are have some problem, or if we have some deviations in our mental health, we will be able to recognize. But the near ones or dear ones, if they have or showing or started exhibiting such symptoms, definitely we need to recognize and treat it early. And the changes in sleep patterns, that might see few things we need to think of which needs attention, like changes in the sleep patterns, difficulty in sleeping or concentrating, worsening of health problems if they have any, and increase the use of alcohol or tobacco or drugs. Maybe this is due to the boredom, or might be a lot of idle time. Persons with the mental illness, persons who had previous mental illness may face newer challenges. So actually, they have their own challenges uh, because they have already uh, have issues related to the mental health. So what are the things they face? The same fears and stress as others, right? So they might feel that their old condition or previous condition get worsen. So that fear is there, and social isolation make them more withdrawn, moody, or irritable. So that also a kind of aggravating factor or contributing factor. They may not seek or get easy access to the medicines and counseling. So they were on treatment. The treatment might get, the service of the treatment might get affected. The therapeutic process might get affected. So don't discriminate. Fear is normal reaction to the situations of uncertainty, but sometimes fear is expressed in ways which are hurtful to others. So we may have fear. The, the basic fear is we feel that we might contract the disease. So that's the issue. So whenever we see the people like frontline workers or health workers or people who got diagnosed with the disease, we need to be we need to be kind enough to them when you're talking to them or might be addressing them. Don't discriminate against the people who you think they might have COVID-19, right? Should not discriminate on the basis of diagnosis, or don't discriminate. The people are working in the hospitals or working against the COVID-19 infection, or don't discriminate on the basis of specific group, or maybe belong to a particular geographical area, right? Where there might be outburst, maybe like metropolitan cities. There are a lot of cases where if some people travel to hometown from their metropolitan cities, people look at them like, oh, these people are from them, that place or that city. So this person might have disease. So that's the discrimination should not be done. So stigma, anyone can contract the disease or the coronavirus regardless of race, gender, age, other personal qualities. That is quite evident. Almost all the nations or countries has uh, affected with this. Even tribal groups who do not have contact with the modern life, they have also contracted the disease. So nothing is spared here. So we should not do the discrimination. Virus don't discriminate, and neither we should, right? So that should be. Evidence shows that stigma due to the coronavirus leads to what happens when we stigmatize people. A reduction in the people seeking the medical care and testing. When we look at the people with the COVID-19, right? So they're isolated from the rest of the community. People are not talking to them. They're like dealing like with the untouchables, such kind of attitude. So what will happen if people, if healthy people contracts infection also, if he get infected, he might not able to reveal it, or he might not able to get medical care, because what will happen once he is diagnosed, then he is be isolated. Everybody, the neighbors, everybody comes to know that he has got a disease, right? So such kind of stigma acts as a barrier for the treatment. Reduction in the people adhering to the interventions, so this can happen, and this can lead to cases not being reported, and more people being exposed to the. See, once what will happen if you are not reporting, then automatically you roam around, you will not self isolate, roam around, and you will actually transmit the disease to the more people, and it makes difficult to control this. So what we do, we are all on the same team, that's the humanity, and we are fighting against the COVID-19. It's humanity versus COVID-19. Frontline warriors are stressed because of the workload, or because of the discrimination, stigma, all those things. What can be done? So you can do the work rotation, maybe a rotation between the high and low stress roles. Particular roles will be under higher stress, and other roles, so it can alternatively, or you can do the rotation, so that can manage some amount of kind of relax them. Access to the mental health has to be mental health services to be provided to them, and proper rest, exercise, and healthy food, communication with loved ones. So all those things, whatever we do normally, had to be given to those people also. And elderly, these people are at risk. Maybe they have been there with the kind of empty nest syndrome. People are only old couple is there at home, might not have the help from their children. Maybe they might be working abroad or far away. So neighbors can help them. So what they can do, they need to do, they have to spend time with the family. Maybe like they can contact online, maybe like social medias are helpful nowadays, so video calling is there. So that's good to maintain a contact, and spend time with the recreational activities up to them, or the individual choice, whatever they like, they can do it. Make some time for exercise, definitely exercise. Barring the ages, all the age group people need to be physically active, and exercise will help the elderly even more. And make some time for the exercise, getting involved in the daily activities, or like cooking, or maybe other activities, maybe like gardening, watering the plants, all those things will help them, keep them engaged. And cutting down on the listening to the news, this has to be avoided. This can create the panic among them. So limit the news feed, and help them to get the authentic news. Finally, what we can do is minimize the news feed. 24 into 7 and 24 into 7 news feed will not help us. Only authentic, or maybe authentic news resources we can just go through to just keep updated, right? So exaggerated news uh, can create the panic, so should be away from that. Social contact is important, either through the online and offline with family members if they're at home. Otherwise it's difficult. Only online can help us. Screen time here concerned with the two things. One is related to the work from home, those who are with the desktops, laptops. So what will happen? They need to spend a lot of time with that. So need to take frequent breaks. You need to reduce your screen time. Uh, do some relaxation activities. So that will video games, definitely it will be tempting us to spend more time on it. So we should be keep away from those activities. If it all is there, to limit the time. Social media, definitely it will help us, but we need to use it to promote the positive and hopeful stories so that it will motivate many of the people in seeking the help and helping others also. Helping others, maybe like neighbors or whoever in need, we can help. So that will help us to mm, have a good mental health. Support health workers, definitely we can support health or maybe like should have a gratitude towards them at least to if we not support. So that has to be there. Have a daily routine. So what we can do, get up and go to the bed on the similar time every day. Keep up with the personal hygiene. So if you are maintain that, definitely all other illnesses stay away. Eat healthy meals regular times due to the home isolation, or might be a lot of time at the home, we might get disturbed with our routine, but should have the food at regular point of time of the day. Exercise regularly, be active, do some active activity. So don't sit at one place or maybe watch television or might be or maybe like on social media, so those things. So try to spend time offline also. Allocate a time for working and a time for resting. Since it is a more of a work from home, the working hours got extended. So you need to have a clarity on how long you work and how long you rest. So that has to be there. And make time for doing things you enjoy. Maybe like you love reading books, do it. Or maybe like watching movies, or maybe a gardening. So anything what you love, you have to do it. Or pick a hobby or learn a new skill. So anything which makes you happy, you need to do it. And keep organized and time management. That will help us to have a clarity of thought and peaceful mind. So, in a nutshell, living peacefully becomes the important. Uh, Either it is a COVID-19 crisis or whatever the aspects is bothering us, we need to have peace within ourselves. So, if you have good state of mind, definitely it will help us to win this battle. See, remember, good mental status in difficult times may win you the battle more easily. So you have to have a peace within. So we need to work towards that. We need to keep all negative things away from uh, these aspects. So that will help us. See, this is all about the mental health issues. Now the session is open for the Q&A. If you have any queries related to stress or maybe like the topic whatever I have dealt, you can ask questions. Or if you want to add something or if you want to contribute to the topic, you can do so.
Aldrin, can I ask one question?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Can you give some information of
Yeah, sure.
psychological?
Yeah, sure, sure. You can contribute, madam. That's
uh,
you're most welcome.
Can you give some information?
Oh, pardon me?
Can you give
Ah,
some information
yeah.
on psychological impact of COVID-19 on students and how
Usually,
they can overcome?
usually what happened is the classes has been shifted from offline to online mode. So that has been a bit stressful for the students, maybe related to the many issues, maybe related to their financial issues, maybe with the data pack or maybe the increased screen time, and maybe people who are they are aware that they are not under that supervision or strict control. So those kinds are leading to the kind of they are moving towards the kind of self-regulated or self-study. So such kinds of things are there, and they are feeling stress with these aspects. And most probably the issues are related to the uncertainty about the classes, exams, and what might happen, how long the course duration may extend, or maybe the practical skills they might not be able to acquire. So all those things are causing some amount of stress in students. So those people can move towards a kind of self-study mode, and they try to go through the topics or whatever the syllabus is there, and you can they get oriented to that. And if it now a lot of resources are available, or you can go through the YouTube or other reliable source or other reliable sources also there. So we can make use of that and get updated. If any things are there, they can approach teachers. So many things they can do and get better of those stresses.
Okay.
If no further queries, we'll move on. So I would like to thank organizers for giving me this opportunity. Especially my heartfelt thanks goes to Dr. M. Mohan Alva, Chairman of Alva's Education Foundation, for giving me the opportunity, and Dr. Hana Shetty and Dr. B. Etikumar Swami Gowda, Principal, Alva's College of Nursing, for motivating me to do this session. And I would like to thank Mr. Brijesh for his tech support. And thank you all dear participants and my dear colleagues for patient listening. Thank you. Thank you so much.